All right, so I is equal to the square root of -1. So if you ever have a negative number inside a square, you straight up just get rid of it and put I on the outside. So nothing too crazy there. I squared is going to be the square root of -1 squared. Squares and square roots, what do? They cancel. So if they cancel, I'm actually left with I squared is equal to -1. So notice our flip-flopping that's going on here. Okay, there's a little bit. Then we get I cubed. Now I'm going to go with your exponent properties. So your exponent properties tell you that you have I to the first times I squared. That would be the same thing. But we know what I to the first is, and we know what I squared is. And so the interesting thing is I'm going to leave I there, but I squared I know is -1. So what's I times -1? Negative I. Yeah. So I get I get I cubed equals -I. No dot showed up. And I to the fourth. I'm going to also use my exponent properties. So I squared times I squared, well, I squared is -1. So -1 times -1 is +1. So notice this weird flip-flopping that's going on here, okay, how they change. And the crazy thing is, if I go I to the fifth, it follows this pattern and it becomes just I. If I go I to the sixth, it's going to be -1. And it goes so on and so forth. And it just keeps on going forever and ever. Any questions there? So I'm going to put 2 stars here. So this is the most important that you need to know. And you also need to know this, so I'm also going to star that. Less important, we don't see it as much, but you still see it. Okay? So we need to know these 2 things. Now, I'm also going to show that you have a complex number here. And so a complex number just has 2 parts to it. It has the real and the imaginary. Those 2 things. Okay, it even says that right down here. You cannot combine them. So if I have 2 plus 3i, that's a complex number. I do not add those 2 things together and get 5i. Okay? It's like if I have 2 plus 3x. Right? I can't add 2 and 3x. It's the same thing. They're stuck. They're left like that. That's it. That's done. Okay? Any thoughts, wonderings, anything like that? All right. Then I want to actually do one random thing here. No, we're not going to do it. I got to stay on the board for the video. So, letter A. I see the square root of -75. First thing I do is I get rid of the negative by just writing it like this. Now, folks, you've taken the square root of numbers and you've done simplified radical form in L1, geometry, intermediate. You've done it for years, okay? So I need 2 numbers that multiply to make 75.
15.
What was that? 75 and 1, 15 and 5. I'm going to caution against the 75 and 1. We can always get 1 to multiply out, right? I could go 75 times 1 times 1 times 1. It won't help us break it down. Okay, so we want to stay away from the 1, but you can go with any other ones.
25 and 3.
You could do 25 and 3. We're actually going to do both. So I'm going to take 5 and 15, and I'm going to start with that. So folks, when I write this out, I keep writing everything line by line by line. So I'm going to write this as 5 times 15. 5 is a prime number. I look, do I have a buddy for 5? No. Can I break it down? No. Not 5.
Oh, not 5.
15 I can though. So 5 times, what's 15 break to?
5 and 3.
5 and 3. Now I have a pairing. I have 2 5s. So I exchange. I take those two 5s inside the square root, and I exchange it for 1 5 on the outside of the square root. So when they leave the square root, they only come out as 1. So I end up with 5i square roots of 3.
Nichols.
That's me. What's up? Question? No? All right. All right. Now, there was. You sitting there with your socks? Dang. All right. Bold move. Kind of wondered what smelled, but that made sense. I'm just kidding. All right. So the other option is going to be 25 and 3. Now I do want you to write this down because I need you to compare the two methods. There's the method that always works. Okay? You break them down until you can't break them down anymore and you take the numbers out. There's the other option. On the whiteboard, we have perfect squares. So square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, so on and so forth. Do I have 25 over there? What's the square root of 25?
5.
Yeah, just 5. So actually, if I see a square root inside my square root, that's perfect and I know it. I'm just going to cross off 25 and put 5i square roots of 3. Notice we have the same answer. Notice the amount of work. So if you choose your numbers purposefully based off the numbers that are on the whiteboard, those perfect squares, you can speed up the process. But know that you can choose any numbers and it will still work. Like if you're stuck on a test, don't sit here for 5 minutes trying to find the perfect square. Just start breaking it down, okay? All right, letter B. First thing you do, make that positive. How do I make that positive? I. So I'm going to write this as 4i square roots of 24. Give me some numbers for 24. 4 and 6, 12 and 2. Let's choose as a class. Do we want to do 12 and 2 or 4 and 6?
12 and 2.
What numbers do we want?
2 and 4 and 6.
4 and 6, because we have 4 right there. Okay, I don't have 12 here on the whiteboard. So I'm going to go with 4 and 6 to speed that up. So this, I write out. Now, 4, we know the square root is 2. So I'm going to cross that off. And notice, folks, you're multiplying on the inside. You do the same thing on the outside. You multiply them together. So this is going to be 2 times 4i square roots of 6. Let's talk about the 6. If I break 6 down, it's going to be 2 times 3. Doesn't do anything. There's no pairings that come out of that. So 6 I'm going to leave. 2 times 4, I just get 8. So I get 8i square roots of 6. I want to hear the questions that we have. Ask.
Where did the 2 come from?
What's the square root of 4?
Oh.
Okay.
16. Oh, the square root.
Square root of 4 is 2. 4 squared is 16. Question? Stretching?
I think I just did it like a different way.
You can do it a different way and still get the same answer. So that's fine. All right. Any other questions?
Can we move on?
Letter C. Square root of 64.
8.
Okay, square root of negative 64.
Negative 8.
No.
Domain error.
What?
8i.
It is 8i. Okay? So, it's positive 64 though, so it is just 8. I'm just testing us. So we do get 8 minus, I want to make that positive right away. So what do? I write it as I square roots of 63. Two numbers. What multiplies to 63?
Why don't you look it up?
I know what they are.
3 and 21.
What?
3 and 21.
3 and 21. That does work. We're going to use it. So 3 times 21. 3. I check to see if it has a buddy. It doesn't. I check to see if it's prime. It is, which means I can't do anything with it. So I move on to the next one. 21. 3 and 7. So I look here. I got 2 of the same numbers. So I'm going to circle them, and I'm going to drag them out. So I'm going to have 8 minus 3i square root 7. Now, I check. Can I reduce 7?
No.
No, I cannot.
Not
It's prime.
nicely.
So I leave it right here. So this is my complex number.
You mean expression?
Nope, it's a complex number.
Is that a number?
It's got the real portion and it's got the imaginary portion. Just like at the top of your page. Got it right up there. All right.
Yep.
Other questions? Yes. Right here. So what you're asking is, I'll give you a different look at this. Can I do that? Yeah, we can get this. This is 8x, right? When we double distribute, we multiply x's and numbers together and we get stuff like that. If I'm over here and I have 8 minus 3x, we don't have like terms, right? So we can't combine the terms because they're not the same. So just like here, we can multiply. I haven't really changed it a whole lot. I've multiplied the numbers in front, the coefficient, but I haven't actually done anything with the x other than drag it along. Here, this is the real portion of the number, and this is the imaginary, and you cannot add imaginary and real numbers together. They just stay like that. They're stuck like that. Okay, that's the form that we leave them in. Does that kind of make sense? All right. Other questions? All right, then we're looking at the last 2. Yes.
What is that?
Letter D?
E.
E? Oh, don't worry, we'll get there. You don't worry about it. All right, what is the square root of 36? Just 6. So what is the square root of negative 36?
6i.
6i. So I'm going to put 6i. So the negative I dealt with right away, and then I just took the square root of the number.
30i.
Hold up. Square root of negative 25 is going to give you
5i.
just 5i. Yeah. So if we're looking over there, we can see that square root of 25 on the board there. Since it's negative, we just have to attach the I to it. So I got that. So now I multiply the numbers together, and I get 30. I times I is going to be, nice, I squared. What is I squared?
-1.
It's -1. That's why I said you have to know this one, because this one shows up too. So I'm okay if you actually jump down and write your answer as -30. I'm also completely happy if you write this as an in-between step and put 30 times -1. I'll show this quite a bit, okay? But I'll let you know that I'm fine with that. Because if you just got one number times -1, I'm confident you can do that in your head. So, any questions about this piece? Now the one you've been dying for, letter E, you already told me the square root of -25. You told me it is 5i. So I'm just going to write that down. So we just changed it based off the last problem. What does this reduce to?
0.5.
Not 0.5.
1/2.
It does go to 0.5, but yes, I want 1/2. Now, what I need to check, though, is I can divide 5 by 10 for the first portion. And then I look at the next portion, because I have to be able to divide both of them by the same thing. So I can divide 5 by 10 as well. Now, if this was 7, I'd actually just leave this as my answer. If this was 3, I would leave it as my answer, because I'm not really reducing anything. But since I can reduce it, this reduces to, and there's 2 ways of writing it. You could write it as 1 plus I divided by 2, So that means I've divided this by 10 and I've divided that by 10. Or, if it makes more sense to you, you can write it as 1/2, because I divided those two. And then when I divide these two, I get plus, you put 1i if you want, divided by 2. Or you can just write it as that double fraction. That is up to you. Looks like we got another minute before my hard drive is going to crash from being full of videos. So, what questions do we have?
So we can't write it like one. It can't be like. Wait, never mind. Answer my question.
Yeah.